Hi, it's Kyle from Bitewing Games, and today we're learning how to play the Wolves. In the Wolves, you are playing as a wolf, trying to beat out the other wolf packs for control of territory. The point of the game is to win, and you win by having the most points. Points are scored in the three phases of the game: the crescent, quarter, and full moon. If you have the most or second most control of a region when that moon cycle is completed, you earn the points. You will also earn points throughout the game by hunting prey and by placing pieces from your personal board onto the main board, unlocking bonuses and points. Let's take a look at the setup. Set out the main center chasm board. Set out region boards depending on the number of players. It's a bit confusing, so pause here and look at the image or check the rulebook. Place one lone wolf token per space as indicated on the board. Place two matching prey tokens on each indicated space. In a 3-player game, you'll play with one stack of each animal plus an extra rabbit stack. In a 4-player game, you'll play with an extra stack of rabbits, boars, and raccoons. And in a 5-player game, play with 2 stacks of each animal type. Gather the appropriate number of moon region scoring tokens for your player count. Mix them up randomly and place one on the water location of each region. You'll score for the crescent moon regions first, followed by the quarter moon sections, and finally you'll score for the full moon sections. To help you remember the order in which ones will be scored next, you can place this reminder token onto the crescent moons. You'll move these throughout the game after scoring for each region. Each player will select one of the 5 wolves, taking the player board and all tokens matching that wolf color. Set aside 2 pack wolves and 2 alpha wolves. Place all remaining wolves on the lower right of your player board. The lairs will be placed on the lower left, and the dens will be placed on the top numbers, leaving the first number of each section blank. Gather the action tiles for your wolf. The leftmost tile should be your wolf's specific terrain type. It's the same on both sides. Place the other tiles in any order, making sure no 2 tiles show the same terrain type, except one of them will match your specific terrain type. Randomly select a start player, probably the person who was most recently raised by wolves. In the snake draft, you'll go ahead and lay out your wolves. The start player will place a pack wolf and an alpha wolf on one space surrounding the central chasm. The player to their left will do the same and continue going clockwise. Once all players have placed their 2 initial wolves, in reverse order, place your remaining 2 wolves. Your second set of wolves must be placed on the opposite side of the chasm. Beginning with the starting player, you will take 2 actions, and then turns will go clockwise in that order around and around the table. So the actions that you can take are, number 1, you can move your wolves. Number 2, you can build a den. Number 3, you can upgrade a den to a lair. And number 4, you can howl or dominate. So let's take a look at each of these actions. To take any of these actions, you must flip terrain tiles that match your destination hex. So if I wanted to move my wolves to this location, I need to flip a snow tile. And that's the first action. You can move wolves. How many wolves can you move? Well, to start the game, just 2. And how far can they move? 3 spaces. They can move together or separate. It's a free world. Do what you want. Kind of. There are a few restrictions. There can only ever be 2 pieces on a single hex. You can move your piece onto a hex with another player's in some cases. Essentially, there's a hierarchy where Lair is greater than Alpha, which is greater than Pack Wolf, which is greater than Den. So, I can move my Alpha onto a space with another player's Pack Wolf. But that Pack Wolf then gets scared and runs off. The owner of the Alpha Wolf decides which of the adjoining spaces that Pack Wolf runs to. You may also place a wolf onto a region where another player has a den. You can't move onto a space with another player's lair, because the lair is kind of the top of this hierarchy. You can't move an alpha onto a space with another player's alpha, or a pack wolf onto the space of another player's pack wolf. You also can't end on a hex with a lone wolf, or prey tokens on them. The last movement restriction is that you can't move through spaces with water, including the central chasm. So there's all the rules for movement. Let's look at the second action, building a den. You can build a den on a space occupied by one of your alpha wolves, or one space away. You must flip 2 tiles matching the terrain of where the den is going to be placed. So I could flip 2 desert tiles to build the den here, or 2 forest tiles to build the den here. Choose the top leftmost den from any of your 3 attribute tracks, placing the den on the central board. Notice you'll also be unlocking improved attributes and or bonus tokens, which we'll discuss shortly. So we know they have to be on the space of an alpha wolf or one away, but where exactly can they be built? They can be built on any terrain type. They can be built on a space with another player's pack wolf, as long as you don't end up with more than 2 pieces on that hex. Action number 3 is build a lair. Dens that are built next to a water source are eligible to be upgraded to a lair. Alphas have to be present to upgrade to a lair, either on or adjacent to the den. Flip 2 terrain types matching the den, and place a lair on that location. Remove the den from the game board and place it on the next number of the moon track. We'll get to that in a minute. Since other wolves can't share a space with a lair, move any wolves on that space onto an adjacent hex of your choice. Placing a lair will earn you victory points and reward you with a bonus terrain token. The final action is to howl or dominate. This is a way to take over other wolves or structures. To howl, you will flip 2 tiles matching the location of a lone wolf token that is within howl distance of one of your alpha wolves. When you do, you will replace that token with your top leftmost wolf on your player board. Place the used lone wolf token on the next space of the moon board. So, howling lets you take over lone wolves, but you can also take over other players' wolves or their dens, and that's called dominating. To dominate, you must be again within howl range. Flip 3 action tiles matching the terrain type you are trying to dominate. Remove that player's piece, placing it on the moon board, and place your own piece on the board. If you replace a den, choose a den from any of your tracks. If you replace one of their pack wolves, replace that piece with your next available wolf. It might be a pack or an alpha wolf. But having 3 available tokens of the same type might seem impossible. Luckily, we have some bonus tokens. Anytime you want to take any action, you may choose to use one of your bonus terrain tokens instead of having to flip a tile. These can be earned by placing dens on the board, earning the token as soon as you uncover that region on the track. You will also earn them as you build lairs. These other tokens are bonus action tokens. They allow you to take additional actions rather than just 2 on your turn. You still flip tiles like normal to take the actions. And for clarification, you can take the same action more than 1 time on your turn. So the final spot on our board that we haven't discussed yet is this section for prey. To collect prey, have wolves on 3 different adjacent hexes surrounding a prey token. Immediately collect that prey and place it on your board, earning a bonus action tile. An important note is that you can only collect 1 type of each prey. No duplicates allowed. So now you know most of how the game works, except for the scoring. So let's take a look at that moon board. As tokens are placed on the board, they will eventually be placed on the crescent moon. As soon as this happens, the current player finishes their turn, and then you'll take a little break for scoring. Find the regions that contain a crescent moon. The player with the most control of each of these regions will earn the region's scoring token. The second place player will take a victory point token from the supply, matching the lower number. So let's talk about controlling a region. Each piece that you have in that region will score 1 control over that region, except for the lair, which contributes 3 control to that region. So as an example, in this case, the purple wolf has 5 control, blue has 4 control, and yellow has 2 control. So purple takes the 4-point scoring region token, blue takes a 2-point victory point token, and yellow wallows in self-pity. So how do you handle ties in the regions? If purple and blue had tied, the player with more alphas wins. In this case, purple. If there is still a tie, they would each take the victory point token for the lower point value, with no other players earning any points. If purple won, but blue and yellow tied, then only purple would be awarded points. Okay, after scoring, move the region scoring reminder token to the next moon phase and continue play. You will score the quarter moon and full moon the exact same way when their spaces are covered on the moon board. The player who places a piece on the full moon will finish their turn, and final scoring will occur for that moon phase. Finally, count all of your tokens you've earned, as well as all points from your personal board. You will score the highest point value you've unlocked on your board. And the player with the most points wins. In case of a tie, the player with more region scoring tokens wins. If there is still a tie, the player with the most wolves on the board wins. As a scoring example, Amanda scored 19 points for region scoring tokens, 3 points for pack spread, 7 points for wolf speed, and no points for howl range. She earns 10 points for lairs, 16 points for prey, and 4 points for wolves, giving her a total of 59 points. And now you know how to play the wolves. The setup and gameplay is slightly modified for 2 players, so go ahead and look at the rulebook for that. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. Until next time.